So if you have ever gone looking for these cute little fake Alpine style Christmas trees, you know they are not cheap. I found places online where I could get 2 or 3 for $70 up to $100, and I just didn't want to pay that much. So I figured out a way to make my own, and I'm going to show you how using a broken fake Christmas tree and a simple dowel and 1x2 that I picked up at Home Depot. The tree is removable from the stand, and this might make things a little easier for me to store because I can lay these down and then stack these up somewhere separate. So if you like this style, then stay tuned and watch how I make it. I bought a 1 1/4 inch oak dowel from Home Depot. The length was 3 feet, and I cut it in 2 unequal parts so that one was a little taller than the other one. You could do this in store or at home with a tool that you have. Then I'm taking this Dremel extension so that I can more easily hold this instead of the whole Dremel, just to give some texture to the bottom of the dowel. This part is not necessary. I liked how it made it look a little more like an actual tree trunk. You could also try this project with a dried out branch, as long as it was fairly thick like this and more or less straight. Then I just want to make sure I knock down some of the rough edges, so I use a little bit of sandpaper. And then here I'm using this Behr stain and poly in one. You could use lots of different things: a regular stain, a gel stain, acrylic paint. I just wanted something to darken it up a little bit. You can see how it just looks a little different on the bottom part of the dowel where I use the Dremel, and then where it's still totally smooth up towards my left hand. Then I just took another paper towel and wiped up the extra. Here I'm using a permanent marker to mark the places where I want to drill in the holes where the branches will go. So as I rotated the dowel around, I did 4 on each layer, but you want to vary at least a little bit where these go so that you don't just have evenly spaced rings all the way around the tree. I'm using the 3/16 inch drill bit and drilling in a hole that's about 1/4 of an inch deep. For the branches, I am using a wire cutter to cut off little pieces from a broken fake Christmas tree. I was able to get this for free from someone. The tree didn't stand up right anymore, and so they were just going to get rid of it. You could also use like a fake garland that has pieces like this that you're just going to cut off. Okay, for each tree stand, I took a piece of 1x2, cut it into 4 7-inch long sections, and painted each one black. You could paint it a different color if you want. You could spray paint it. You could assemble it first and then paint it. But here's how I'm putting it together. So with my wooden dowel standing up straight, I just brought all of the pieces in together so they would be able to hold it like this. Then I marked a couple of the sections with a pencil so that then I could line it up again and use my nail gun to secure 2 nails into each end. Check a couple of times to make sure that the dowel is still going to fit inside, and then use the nail gun to finish assembly. I didn't get great video of this step, but do make sure that you are wearing eye protection. So then that should sit flat, and the dowel should fit down inside. If you wanted to, you could use it a couple more brad nails to secure the dowel into the bottom, but I decided not to, and I think this might work for storage a little bit better later if I can take them apart. Okay, so now it's time to start gluing in the branches into each of our drilled holes. So I'm just using a glue gun and putting a little bit of glue on the wire end, and just make sure that you're using the cut end to glue into the dowel, and that way the branch will still look natural as it's coming out of there. The little pine needles will face the right direction. And at this point, don't really worry about shaping each of the branches. We'll do that somewhere later. But I am bending the end of the wire down just a little bit before inserting it into the drilled hole. It just seemed like it was a little easier to glue it in that way for me, but I don't know that it's necessary. Continue your way around the tree and use the longer pieces towards the bottom, and as you have some shorter pieces, move those up towards the top. So you can see these pieces here that I'm using are about 6 inches, so I'm using those down at the bottom, and then some of the shorter ones that get closer to 4 inches, I'm using those up towards the top. So just continue around the dowel and fill in each drilled hole with a little branch. When those are all filled in, it's time to work on the top section. So I have 3 pieces that are about 5 inches long and 3 pieces that are about 6 inches long. Start with the longer pieces and bend at about the halfway mark. For the shorter pieces, bend at about the top third. Use the glue gun to make about an inch line of hot glue and stick 2 of the long pieces together. Then add the third one, and you want it to kind of be like a triangle or like sticking out in 3 equal directions. Hold that until it sets, and then repeat with the smaller pieces. Put down 3 dots of hot glue, and probably one in the center is a good idea too, and set the larger piece on top there and wait until the glue sets. Here I'm taking the smaller piece and changing the bend of it just a little bit so that the middle part is a little bit taller. Then put some hot glue on just the top of the piece we just added and set our smaller piece on top. So here we've added a little bit of height to the tree, given it a nice point with a couple more layers of branches. So on the taller tree, I added 3 layers of branches like this, and on the smaller tree, I added 2. Now that all our glue has set, we can come in and adjust each of these branches a little bit. I tried to not make everything match evenly, but this is a good way to fill in a little bit of space. If you have too much of the dowel showing, you can bend one of the branches to one side or the other. And I like for them to kind of point down out of the trunk, but then bend up just a little bit at the end. So you can kind of do this how you prefer. You can look at pictures online of what some of these other fake alpine trees look like. And again, I like it where it looks just a little bit scraggly and not too evenly matched between each branch. I hope that was helpful if you want to make your own little alpine trees. If you do make some, I would love to see the result. Of course, if you have any questions, let me know. If I don't get up any more videos before the end of the year, then happy holidays. I will see you in the new year, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see all the great stuff that's coming in 2024. Thanks for watching. Bye.